Hi everyone, we have Miss Saisudha Acharya today with us, a famous author known for presenting history in a fun and meaningful way. Please join us and hear her thoughts on how her writing journey has been. Let's go on air with BooksWagon, where stories meet voices. We are glad to have you here, ma'am. So please tell us what has inspired you to present history in a fun way, where it has been so fun for even young readers that find history very boring.
Now, before I came to writing, I used to teach at a school where I taught social studies, and one of the subjects, of course, is history. And I found in the process of having to teach that I had to find interesting things to keep my class engaged. Engaged and also understanding the India they were part of. So I was really keen that my students would have a context, because they're not going to stay in school forever. So they have a context for what's going on around them that's based in evidence. You know, like a lot of social media tells us things, but they don't tell us how we know what we know. And I wanted to get them to do that, and I found that they already knew a bunch of history, and they were getting a lot of this from sources like Horrible History. So it wasn't that they weren't reading. They were reading, but they were reading stuff like Horrible History in our school library. And then I thought, oh, I should write something like Horrible History for my, at that time I was only thinking about my classroom. But then as I started writing, I thought this could be something that could be wide, for a wider audience.
So your professional experience as an educator has a wide impact on how you became a writer yourself.
Yeah, and also the fact that I think when I was growing up, I didn't know as much about my own country's history. So I was also driven by curiosity.
So history is a very complex thing, right? The truth that is there in history has to be very intact. Otherwise, in a place like India, a lot of questions are raised. So how do you think presenting in a fun way makes sure that the complexity is not being misused?
I think that was really important. I think one of the main interests I have is not just making it fun, because I think there are a lot of ways to make something fun, but also I wanted to have a balance between it being humorous or being witty and having nuance. Like, I would like the reader to start, once they read my book, to start applying this style of thinking of like, how do you know what you're saying, or starting to examine things more critically outside of the book and in general media. So that was like a real important focus. I think your question is how I do it. I think how I do it is by telling my reader like how I know. So I'm always pointing to the evidence, like how am I getting my information? Who is the primary source? Where could they find it? So I have there are footnotes in the book where you can, if I have used a quote from somewhere, and I have, because for the sake of making it simple, I have reworded it, I'll put the original quote in my footnote. I have a bibliography that I hope my readers will, check out and read more about.
Alright, great. So please tell us about your latest issue, that is History Unpacked, about medieval India, right?
The Medieval India book, which is the Why, When and What of Medieval India, is the second in a series. History Unpacked Ancient India was about from the Paleolithic, which is Stone Age, to the Gupta period. And one of the keen focuses I had was on making sure I covered all parts of the Indian subcontinent. So that includes the northeast, that includes southern India, the western India, northern, central, all parts of India. A little bit of, just to get a glimpse of what's happening everywhere. And in the medieval period, we are covering from the Chalukyas that are from the Deccan to, I think we end with the Mughals coming. It's not all of the Mughal Empire, but the entrance of the Mughals. But then the favorite parts I have are the Ahoms from Assam, because I hadn't learnt about that when I was in school. I had questions like, how does a sultan, like how do you go from being a slave to a sultan? So that was something I was curious about, so I'm able to do that. So the book has given me an opportunity to cover aspects that I hadn't learnt about, so now I'm learning about it as I'm writing it.
So is there any specific piece of advice that you have for the young writers that are, researching and thinking of getting themselves into this kind of genre?
I think reading. I think my mind is blown by being at the World Book Fair because I'm seeing so many interesting books that I hadn't seen before. And reading is really knowing, like reading a lot, consuming a lot of the kind of writing you want to do, as well as reading other things just to get inspired is the way to go.
Okay. And do you think that because now everything is turning digital, do you yourself enjoy the smell of books, or you're okay with everything being digitalized and you have made your peace with the AI thing?
No, I don't know if I've made my peace with AI. Maybe, yeah, I think I need a little time with AI to make my peace with it. With paper, yeah, I prefer paper books definitely, but I also consume a lot of digital media, so I can't really say that one is better than the other. I mean, I have to say, please read a paper book because I'm writing paper, like long form. But I also enjoy, shorter forms. So I'm okay actually. I'm kind of enjoying the kinds of varieties of contents that are available to us.
And what is the best part about being a writer?
The best part about being a writer is that it has changed how I'm looking at the world. So I'm traveling more and seeing things through a different lens because now I have all this background information that perhaps I didn't have earlier. And it's also make me meet lots of young people I wouldn't have met, a lot of people in different areas that I hadn't come across earlier. So it's introducing me to a world I hadn't exposed to earlier.
Alright, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your time. I'm sure that the writing, your genre, is going to create a great impact on the world. And anything else, any last thing that you would like to share with our readers?
Just read more, I would say.
Okay, so readers read more, as ma'am said. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. My books are available on BooksWagon.